Mary McDonald. Hi, Charisma. On behalf of the person sitting next to you, on behalf of the person that is the reason you are lucky enough to live in Muskegon County, I welcome you this day. On behalf of my beloved brother, he used to say to me, Mary, when you see people, say, welcome, you lucky people. He's crazy. But he was right. We are lucky. We are lucky to be in this room. Look at this room. Look at this. Somebody said it's snowing out. Snowing out. We are sitting in a room with people who not only want to change for the better where we live, but people who want to be kind and want to help and raise us all up. Good for you. I'm proud to be in the room with you. Thank you for being here. I am responsible for thanking many, many people. I would start with the beautiful Livability Lab core leadership team. Their names are on the back of this booklet. Number of them are in the room. I saw Aaron Kuhn, I saw Gary Allure, I saw Kathy Moore, I saw Mr. Glover, I saw Antoinette. There are lots of folks, when you see them, thank them. They could have thought they were walking into the abyss. Because when we talked about the 100-day challenge, they're like, is this like a diet thing? I want to do a diet thing. I'm like, it's not a diet thing, really, it's not a diet thing. So thank you for all of that. I want to thank the Community Health Innovation Region, the former chair of the Steering Council, Jane Klingman-Scott is here, the new chair, Kathy Moore is here. They are in the room, thank them. They also could, when they took the challenge from Penny Foster Fishman, who you're gonna meet today, they could have run, they didn't. We are grateful. You're gonna meet, I wanna publicly thank Penny Foster Fishman, who's over here. Raise your hand, Penny. And Aaron Watson. And the Michigan State University team that includes Jennifer of Nottingham, we always called her. She rocked from the rich and helped us. A group of people who supported us, who were the designers of the 100-Day Challenge in many communities and worked with us constantly. For you, we are enormously grateful, and we want to say that publicly. I would like to ask everyone that was a coach of a team to stand up. Go coaches. You want to talk about the abyss. These folks met nearly every week for 100 days. They motivated their teams. These folks did a lot, and then lots of you were team members. This is a very great day. Look at these posters. We are surrounded with what can be done with focus to make collective impact. We're surrounded with it. But you know what? It's coming in on us because ultimately we are that collective impact. So on behalf of the people that I've had the chance to work with in the design team of the Livability Lab, Michael, Carrie, Vondi, Marquise, Kim, Catherine, Logan, we're proud to be here. Welcome, and ladies and gentlemen, Muskegon's own, Mickey Wallace.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, I gotta follow that. Hi, I'm Mickey Wallace, as seen on TV, not really, but some of you might remember me from the first Livability Lab kickoff. And I wanna stop for just a moment to lament on that kickoff event, because a lot of things went into play before that kickoff event. There was a little entity called Able Change, and he was finding his way through the world and hooked up with a young lady named Livability Lab, and they got together 100 days ago and gave birth to creations, 19 to be specific, little babies that said, we're gonna send you out and make change in this community. And you all are a part. You all are the offspring of that idea, so give it up for yourselves. I had to find out the significance of 100 days, so keep it in concept with that. In 100 days, you're in, I believe, what's called the second trimester, somewhere in there. And during that time, you're starting to form visibly who you are, male or female, you know, the physical parts. A lot of great things are happening. So today we're going to explore the development that we've accomplished in that 100 days. There have been partnerships, there have been alliances, there have been materializations of great ideas, and you all have stuck it out. I'm so proud to be a part of this community, to be a part of these challenges. And you all have built a bridge that will forever ring true in this community. You have established the groundwork for generations to come to build a better county off of. We have set the model for other cities to follow when it comes to the changes they want to see in their environment. You all are rock stars, and I'm happy as heck to be here with you today, okay? All right, are we ready to get this show started? Are we ready to get this show started? Because I'm gonna need some energy. When you talk about your challenge, you're gonna have to stand up and say what you're most proud of, okay? And just like a proud parent, you show off that kid. Your kid have boogers on his face and everything. You still talk about you. It's my baby, right? Yeah, you proud of your kid. I'm like, that is a cute shirt your child got on. I wouldn't say that to your face. I would not do that. But that's how proud we have to be of each challenge. So when you stand up and give your quick intro of what you're most proud of, we want you to be that excited, okay? So my good friend, the commissioner, Michael Ramsey, is going to help me out today. He's going to be working that side of the room. Go ahead and raise your hand, my man. For those of you that don't know who he is, now you
Who wouldn't know me? That's first of all.
Yeah,
first and foremost, I'm Michael
wondering.
Ramsey.
He'll be here all week, folks. So we'll work both sides of the room, but when it's time for your challenge, I need your team to stand up, and we'll come over to you with the mics and let you say. You have about 30 seconds, 30, 45 seconds. So we know you're excited, you're pumped to tell the whole world about what you've done and what you've created, but we're going to kind of keep that in the time frame, okay? Because we got two doctors here who are ready to bring the noise, and they hate it when I call them that, but I do it because they hate it. So we'll get to that later. All right. You ready, Michael? You ready, crowd? Band, are you ready? Because when they come up, I need you to give me some when they come up with their presentation, okay? Need you when they say, just get, I don't even know how to do, I'm not a drummer. I'm going to go over here. I'll be on this side of the room. Okay. You ready, bud?
Do you want me to start?
Let's kick it off.
Okay, then let's start with team number 11. Team number 11, someone from team number 11, stand up with
Where
your
you
proudest
at? Where
moment.
you at, team 11? Drummer, give me some. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Good deal. All right, next.
I am proud of being there for the children.
Okay.
I'm proud of all the connections that we've made in such a short amount of time.
Amen. All right, Team 10 got us tucked over off here in the corner. Team 10, identify, promote, and support minority-owned businesses. Drummer, give me some. Oh, I missed. Okay, we'll work on that. We'll get together after this and try again. Okay.
Thanks, Vicky. So I am Carla Flanders, and this is part of my Team 10 right here. So I'm with the Muskegon Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce, and our challenge was to identify and recognize minority-owned businesses within our community. And we were really, really happy to work with so many great people on this project. And also we identified 151 minority-owned businesses in the area. And so do I get to talk about the next steps, or that's it?
No, sit down.
That's it.
You are done.
30 seconds.
Carla from the chamber.
That's it. 30. Those chamber members, man.
Oh, and hi, my name is Carla Flanders. I'm
Time
from the
isn't
Mus-
even a
Nope,
construct
go,
to them.
go.
It's just, she used the sundial to take her.
go. Terrible. Thank you, Carla and Team 10.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Who we got next, Mike?
So next we have Team 12. Understand and address local workforce development gaps. This room is not fat man friendly, so I'm gonna pass this microphone.
I'm Brad Hastings, and so our team was what Michael just said. We tried to identify and address gaps in the workforce development pipeline, I guess. And our proudest moment was we put together an Excel spreadsheet that identified all of the workforce development programs in the county. At least we believe it did. We broke them down into categories of nonprofit human services, staffing agencies, skilled trades apprenticeships, employer-based on-the-job training, and online job search engines. And we probably need to vet that a little bit before it becomes a public resource, but we were pretty proud to create that.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Team 9, where you at, where you at? Increase financial literacy to promote home ownership. We putting homes on market for the consumers, y'all. What's going on? You doing good.
Hello, my name is Aaron Shims, project manager for Solid Rock Housing Support. Our beautiful team over here, or at least part of it, we have a number of others that were not able to make it here today. Proudest moment for me is both my team, but also as well as the community. Our first initial goal for this challenge was just to set up the network, and honestly, these people, as well as community members, made it almost too easy. The iron will to help this community is there, folks, and it's very exciting.
Woo! We're only 4 teams in. Y'all are getting excited? All right.
Team number 13, create affordable transit with the Wheels to Work program.
I done started something that ain't gonna ever end.
Thank you for that. Am I supposed to dance too? Team 13, Wheels to Work, bringing affordable and reliable transportation to and from work 24/7, 365. This is our team right here, the best team in the world. We have been successful. Our proudest moment was our ribbon cutting, December 16th. We are providing transportation to and from work in Muskegon County.
Woo! Woo! Okay. We're gonna get you some more time.
You can check out one of our buses in the parking lot today. And
I
I
love
challenge
it.
every employer in this room to come contact me to become part of the solution.
I'm going to make a little public service announcement. Moving forward, there will be time at the end of the day for you to visit
Promo.
Team 13's booth so that she can sell you her gig. So this is a 30-second gig, brothers and sisters. Move through it. Or I'm going to have you here till next Tuesday.
I told y'all you are going to want to brag about your baby, but we got about 30 seconds in the interest of time. At the end of this, we will turn it into the expo style that you see, so you can visit each booth and get the promo on what's happening, what you can be involved with, and the change you can help to further materialize here in your community. Is that all right with everyone? Yeah.
Well, too
I
bad.
don't want 30 seconds. Is that okay with everyone? Okay. I have a lovely timekeeper. Will you please help raise your hand, Ms. Vonnie? There we go. That's my timekeeper right there. If you see her doing this, there you go. Are we ready to roll? All right, here we go. Team 8, assess housing stock and needs to identify and address gaps. Where we at, Team 8? Give me some drummer. Here we go.
I'm Angie Mayu from the Muskegon Housing Commission. We had an awesome team. I think that one of our proudest moments as we were sitting around the table this morning talking was it did seem like we were going into an abyss of nothingness. And every meeting we all were like, do we really want to go? And at the end of it, we were thrilled, excited, and ready to come to the next meeting. As we pulled the data together, we were like, this isn't that hard. We are awesome. Pick up our report. You'll be really impressed.
I love it. Thank you, Team 8. Michael Ramsey, over to you.
Team 14, prenatal support.
All right, luckily I can talk really fast. All right, so increasing prenatal care and supports to pregnant women in Muskegon County. Our proudest moment was the surveys that were collected. We were able to identify barriers and resources in Muskegon, and we discovered that over 80% of women thought that prenatal care for them and their baby were important.
Amen.
That's record time at 21 seconds.
There you go. Team 7, improving intergenerational literacy. I know they're not at the table, but you might be dispersed throughout the crowd. We got Team 7. Okay.
All right. So I think our proudest moment is we got together, and if you've ever tried to create a mission and a vision statement with a lot of really passionate, strong-minded people, that in itself is a big challenge, and we did it. And we have now created an avenue for every single person in this room, no matter what your background or your passion is, to get involved in creating literacy supports for anyone birthed through adulthood in Muskegon County. So come and check us out, and we will get you involved.
Team 15, create a safe space for youth in Muskegon Heights.
Hey, Michael Ramsey.
Hi.
So obviously 90 days pulling something off like this took a lot of information from students and student input because, oh, I'm sorry, Michael.
Nope, just waiting here with my stopwatch.
It just started. I've got like
It's still going,
26
Dakota.
seconds.
It's still going.
And I'm
It's
wasting
okay.
time.
Yep.
So, but anyway, I gotta get
3,
you're so distracted.
2.
So
I'm just
basically,
kidding.
because as adults, what we think is best for kids isn't exactly, sometimes what our kids are saying. So we did a survey, which I'm glad that we did and just didn't take off in one direction to essentially solve a few issues. Did a survey essentially around safe, positive space in the Muskegon Heights Academy, essentially in school and out of school time. And what it resulted in at one point in time, there was like after
Hey,
school.
Dakota, what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of you, Mickey.
I appreciate you,
And
brother.
my baby. No, long story short, we had one space for both middle school and teenagers, high school kids. We've now created 2 spaces that are safe for middle school and high school. So doubled our space,
Yes.
doubled the impact.
Yes. Yes. All right. Team 6, strengthening childcare opportunities.
Jim Fisher from Second Act. I am proud that we determined through data and interviews that childcare for working families is a hot button issue. And this great team led by Kathy Sales, Jamie Hecker, and Jeanette Hoyer determined that we need to move forward with a stakeholder coalition for the community, and we created a business case for a major child care center in Muskegon. Thank you.
Wow.
All right, we have Team 16, increase employment opportunities via expungement. Who wants to answer for that?
Happy to. Patrick Finnegan. I'm most proud of the fact that we held an event that had over 200 participants that showed up to avail themselves of an opportunity to have convictions set aside. And the very last individual that we helped, we all think about expungement and setting aside convictions in terms of equal justice, in terms of employment. But the last person that we helped, he had a big smile on his face as he was leaving, and he said, man, you know why I'm here? It's because I want to get this set aside so that I can attend my child's field trips.
That's right.
He's somebody that for the last 5 years has just wanted to be able to participate in his child's field trips at school, and he can't because of a 5-year-old conviction. Wow. So it was a great event and a lot of support from this group of Michigan Works.
Indeed. Changing lives, 100 days and a few hours in. Team 5, coordinating local food advocacy and access efforts.
Hi, Rose Spickler. The thing that I'm most proud of for us was the coordination piece of it, but how many people realized how much they love food in Muskegon County. But one of the cool things that we started, one of the things that we noticed and one of the things I'm most proud of is we started out with looking at the problems of our food system in Muskegon County and kind of ended up realizing how much work is already being done and how much people are already working on it. So we formed the Muskegon Food Alliance to help collaborate all of those efforts. So it was pretty cool that we already have a lot of the resources we need.
Wow. Building bridges.
Awesome. Team 17, align efforts and increase access to local resource information. What are you most proud of?
So as a board member for Call 211, I was most proud that very quickly in our first meeting, we decided to coalesce our efforts around increasing the knowledge, awareness, and participation in Call 211. The people know it as a place to find resources like Health and Human Services, but didn't realize how many phone calls they also get about the activities, the festivals and things. So we did a survey of a lot of people, and we're working on developing that database more, so look for lots more information coming about this fabulous program.
Thank you. Wow. Great job, great job. Way to go, 211.
Team 4, aligning economic opportunity, resources, and supports. All right, my good man.
Okay, we scared our coach away, so anyway, we did a heck of a job here. One is, I think, again, it's difficult to change mindsets. I mean, the way that we approach things, and we had a lot of discussions at the beginning, and we kind of again, that was something that we had to grapple with. It's hard work, but it's definitely rewarding. And I think the main thing that we ended up coming to aha is that we have to get out of kind of our own daily routines, and we really need to go meet the individuals and the people kind of where they're at and really, again, kind of build partnerships. We have to build on what's already there. And like I said, get out of that mindset that we're going to go in and we're going to do this, we're going to do that type of stuff. So really, again, what we came to is how do we actually build partnerships around building more economic stability with the individuals and building businesses, and so that's kind of where we're at.
All right, thank you. Team 4, Michael Ramsey.
Yes. Team 18, discharge procedures to reduce release into homelessness. Sorry, that took me a second.
We got Reed Muskegon in the building too. It's all good, baby. We got you here. Support is all around us. That's why I love being here. Sorry, guys, I'm ready. Let's turn it up a notch. Sorry, timekeeper.
Now, this doesn't cut into my 30 seconds.
Shout out to Reed Muskegon. I'm sorry. Shameless plug.
What I'm proudest of is, I'm John Taylor with Community Encompass, and what I'm proudest of is our ability to reinvent. Kind of as we went through the process, I felt like Community Encompass has a project called the Phoenix. Well, I felt like the Phoenix, but our team was the smallest team. It got a slow start, and what we finally did is we said, we just need to bring the right people to the table, and through that, we looked at Kate Martin's gap analysis on the homeless response system, which was released just before this, and we were able to integrate with that, and we have the people at the table, and we have the funding to get some of our things accomplished.
All right. Woo!
Yeah, I was also on that team, so just so you know, Mickey Wallace, I was one of those right people at the table.
That's right. There you go. Yeah, your financial literacy is up to date. Got it.
Go ahead.
Got it. Finance. Okay. Team 3, focused on the babies. Muskegon Heights Youth Initiative. What are you most proud of?
So we are very well aware that there's lots of programs out there for youth. And I think one of our proudest moments was when we were able to collaborate and build relationships with Pathfinders through Shauna. She's one of our very active members, and we really love that relationship. And then the other one, I have two, is when we developed a list of resources for some of our youth who would like to get more information about things. The list just went on and on. And it's, we hear this from team to team to team, that the team building, the collaboration, this community is ready for change. And it's amazing.
Thank you. Lots of power in this team here. Michael Ramsey.
I have a donut in my mouth. Team 19, reduce inequities in the distribution of K through 12 funding.
Thank you, Michael, for that wonderful introduction. Brennan Gorman on behalf of Team 19. Definitely the most proudest moment for me was, we have the data to demonstrate that there's inequities in education. We can clearly demonstrate how that's affecting public education in Muskegon County. And so for us to, on our very first meeting, be able to begin to design how we would want to approach that and how we would want to tackle that within just our small community was definitely something, because every subsequent meeting after that enabled us to get further and further toward our goal and really be able to understand what our goal is in the scheme of what is a handful of districts in the state.
Wow. Brennan, everyone. You just want to give that guy money, don't you?
Yeah, those were a lot of words. Clap for them because they were all good.
They were all good words. I love it. Team 1 and 2, Neighborhood Association Council and Partnership Charter, bringing the unity to the community.
Good morning, everyone. Our proudest moment, I would say this. We started off with 2 neighborhood associations. Let's say the first time we came together, right? And today we have 4 neighborhood associations. And one of my proudest moments personally is actually having those personalities actually be on the same page, and they're very strong personalities. You probably heard Mimi yesterday on the radio, but to have those strong personalities in one room actually know that we can work as like the body parts, different organs, but actually keeping the body alive. We all got different roles in our life, but to be able to come together and see this community go forward is the body keeping it alive. So thank you.
I'd like to bring up two individuals who without this opportunity would not have been as readily available. That story I opened up with, that little gentleman, that little fella named Abel Change, meeting the little lady called Livability Lab and bringing about this event, is the brainchild of Dr. Penny. And when this duo came together to bring change across this state and further, I don't think they could have imagined the success that Muskegon would have. When you look around, 19 challenges, and I believe I heard one of you say that this was unprecedented. Is that correct? It's unprecedented work, Muskegon, and we are truly standing on the shoulders of two giants right now. Dr. Aaron and Dr. Penny, I'd like to welcome you to the stage.
Wow. Seriously, it is unprecedented, and Aaron and I could not be more proud of what we're here to celebrate with you today. And what we thought would be useful is to sort of explain to you the journey, how did we get here, because we want you to remember what you've done so that you can carry forward not only here, but we think there's other communities around the world that can learn from this as well. We met you back in 2018. I don't know how many of you were actually in the initial Able Change training. And what Aaron and I discovered in that meeting with you was that this was a community filled with tremendously committed individuals who were all working very hard for change. And at the same time, everybody shared with us and with each other that sometimes the work was siloed, sometimes there was coalition fatigue. You were meeting a lot and maybe not accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish, right? And that while you were working really hard, you didn't always talk to the actual residents and engage them in the ways that you wanted to. And so in partnership with the local Shire backbone staff, all the characters you've been seeing here, it was decided, let's start to do things differently. And that's what launched the 100-Day Challenge process, okay? And in the process of kind of doing those things differently, the Shire backbone staff went out and talked to hundreds of people, okay? They gathered, they did a photo voice project, they worked with residents, they worked with professionals. And what I think is most compelling about that story is that no matter who they spoke to, people shared the same vision for this community. They wanted a place where livability happened for all. And in thinking about livability, they talked about it as everybody having these same things, all the things that we talked about today, okay? Education, employment, safety, security, economic opportunity, and health. And so that became the core vision for this work. How do we build a community where everybody has these livability experiences?
But those conversations didn't just stop with what we need to different about people. It also talked about what do we need to put in place in the community to make sure that everyone has a livability. So, for example, economic opportunities. One of the livability elements was everyone has economic stability and they can thrive in that way. So what needs to be different in the community? Here's what people in Muskegon said. We need to have livable employment opportunities so people can even get a job. We need to have dependent childcare, just like the team over there said. That needs to be in place, otherwise people are never gonna have economic stability. You need to have transportation, need to have kind of alignment across the different efforts in town. There needs to be workforce development so that people are ready to take advantage of those opportunities. And there needs to be, last one, housing and utilities so people have the stability in their life to maintain their jobs. So all of these conditions in the community are just for this one thing. Note that. All of these need to be put in place for economic stability to happen. But they didn't just stop at economic stability. They also thought, what are all the different conditions for all 5 of these livability elements? So they added things like food, they added things like healthcare access, they added things like education opportunities, they added things like neighborhood conditions, neighborhood safety. All of these different community conditions people talked about need to be in place here in Muskegon to give people a chance to thrive and to reach that vision. And so this really became kind of the groundwork for what the Livability Lab was focused on.
And I think we heard, as you think about and reflect on the diversity of the successes and the work that happened here, that work was all aligned around, we call those the donuts on the outside, those community conditions. Because this work, the way you achieve something like livability, is you shift the conditions in the community. So everybody has opportunity and everybody can thrive. And so at the last event, the last time we saw you in October, what we launched was this thing called a 100-day challenge. We did not invent this. It's happening all around the world. And the idea is that sometimes when you have something as big as that vision that you've created, people can feel a little overwhelmed by that. Well, how do we create employment here in this community? How do we solve the transportation problem? You solve it by taking the first bite. And that's exactly what the 100-day challenge was, is how do we get diverse cross-sector stakeholders just like you, everybody seeing themselves as an actor of change, and everybody starting to take that first bite by engaging diverse perspectives, because no one person has the answer. It takes everybody's perspective to make this happen, okay? And we want quick wins, exactly what you heard today. People need to see that change is possible in order to pursue change. And that was exactly what we strive to accomplish and that you did collectively accomplish today. And the goal is make it short, make it a tangible win. I know that felt overwhelming, but think about what you heard happened in 100 days. And the work, in order to be successful, all has to be linked to that 100-day challenge, because what we know from around the world is when large groups of people, just like in this room, are mobilized around a common vision, that's when real community change happens. So we thank you for letting us partner with you. Again, I think what you've accomplished here is unprecedented, and we can't wait to see what happens next. And we're going to be turning this over to the next group, who's going to begin to talk about how this work, what the framework was for how this happened in the 100-day challenges.
So just a quick switcheroo. To lead into the next panel, you're going to hear from 4 different teams that are going to talk a lot about what they actually did, so you can really understand what kind of successes happened in the last 100 days. Do you remember Penny said, gosh, with some of these huge things, you got to figure out how to take small bites, take the first stepping stones? Well, part of how you do that is you figure out, how do we problem solve? How do we start problem solving some of these issues, like childcare, like equitable education funding? Well, you can't just take the whole ocean and try to swallow it at once. You start small. And all of these challenge teams went through a problem-solving process to start out figuring out what to do. The first step is you gotta define and understand, what is the problem itself? Why is it happening? Why isn't there childcare available? What's going on that's getting in the way of housing? Let's really understand and define what is the problem itself. You're gonna hear panel members up here really talk about what that was like and how that was different. So once you understand the problem, then you design a solution for it. What can we do to solve it? What are some innovative ways that haven't been tried before that will make things different and put those conditions in place? Once you design a solution, what do you think is next? You do it. You figure out, how can we carry this out and implement some change and make sure we're implementing it well. Finally, you don't just do things and then walk away. At the end, you gotta learn, is it actually making a difference, starting to make a difference? And what can we learn to make sure that we're continuously improving? So this cycle, guys, this is not rocket science. People do this every day. You do this at the grocery store. But it's also a powerful way that these challenge teams did their work to make sure that they were data-driven and really focusing on what was gonna make change in Muskegon. So next, there's gonna be a panel again. People are gonna talk about how they experienced each of these different phases in the 100-day challenge process, and you're gonna get an intimate look at what that looked like here in Muskegon.
Indeed. Thank you, Dr. Watson. Wherever I see you at, it's happening. I'm sorry. That's what we do. You earned that title. Let me hear you say define, design, do, and learn. That's the process, ladies and gentlemen. That's the formula to grocery shopping, apparently, and that's the formula to changing your community as well. So as we hear from our next teams, I'm going to bring up first of the Neighborhood Association Council Teams 1 and 2. We have Mark Glover representing. Mark Glover, everybody. I know I'm in the right place now, man. Representing the Strengthening Childcare Opportunities Team 6, Jamie Hecker. Oh, I thought we... I apologize. I apologize. I was going to bring up the entire crew. So, okay. Are you ready, sir? Oh, yeah, sure. Are you ready? Okay.
Holy Toledo. I spent a long time on this, and now most of what I did is kind of irrelevant. But it is sort of to show you the bones of what happened. And I'm going to tell a story even though I know I'm on a timer. I started teaching in the Heights in 1971. And 71, 72, and they're getting ready to go on vacation, and there's a student, Marcel Roberson. I lived on a farm. I said, I'm going home, going to work on the farm, et cetera. And Marcel said, you know, Mr. Glover, you're really nice to us here, but when you go home, you're just going to tell stories to people that make them laugh about your experience in, you know, with this big minority community in the Heights. And I said to myself, well, I didn't do that, but honest to God, he knew something that I had no suspicion he knew. He knew that people got pumped for information. They wanted to hear things, just like people want to know things. Used to want to hear funny stories about women drivers or hillbillies or whatever. But anyway, the point is that is part of what we did to understand local issues. The first part of the define stage, reveal and deeply understand local issues. Most of those come with a story. Most of those. And it is the story, the context that makes you understand that. So now here's the stuff I wrote down for you that has to do with the structure here. We're supposed to be able to see the ribs of this format in these reports. And my hands shake. They always shook. I thought it was going to be at that podium. But all the people in here that I taught know that anyway.
You can slide on over here,
How
Mark.
city neighborhoods were formed, the pride, the prejudice, the economics, the ethnic, religious, and racial roots that created invisible but effective walls were shared. How policies and practices influenced this, and how this affected neighborhoods and the cohesiveness of Muskegon Heights came to be better understood. And you understand this area kind of focused on the Heights. 2, review the Livability Lab framework for additional data. Things that currently affect the neighborhoods were discussed and addressed during discussion. We discovered that issues in the neighborhood where most homes are rented are different than issues where most homes are owner-occupied. The anecdotes were a powerful motivator, but if you're going to affect things, you have to have data. Anecdotes tell you that a situation exists, and data describes it, explores it, and helps you define the solutions. Conduct thorough root cause analysis. We did surveys, the focus groups, the photo voice, that they're just so powerful. And I think people want to use information gathered from other surveys, not things that we did personally, but lots and lots of things that have gone on. Redefine and define challenge goals. On September 10th, people all got together, discussed this goal, and then as we continued to work, they came to understand different things. So those goals got redefined.
Just a few more seconds, Mark.
In the end, there were 2 areas. One was to raise up neighborhood associations in the Heights, and the other one was a charter that would help empower people in the Heights. With all the industries, the councils, whatever.
Mark
Sorry.
Glover, teams 1 and 2. Don't you leave my side, you beautiful person, you. We're going to stand right over here to the side. Team 1 and 2, everyone. One thing I want to point out as we welcome Jamie Hecker to the stage is that, and you can use the podium if you want. Sorry, Mark, I didn't offer you that luxury. I apologize. But you, I promise to do better. I'll catch you at the next board meeting, okay? I'll make it up to you with cookies. A win can happen at any phase of development. Just coming together as a team is a win to celebrate, right? Having a mission, a vision statement is a celebration, a celebratory event. So as you continue to grow in this 100-day challenge, celebrate your wins. Team 6, Jamie Hecker.
All right. Since we weren't set up for this, we got this? Okay, so I don't have a anecdote, but if anyone here has young children, if you've had young children, if you employ people with young children, you know that childcare is an issue in this community, as it is in many. And one of the first things we came to decide as our group is that this is a urgent, compelling need in our community. And while many people are talking about it, it is not being addressed as a whole, as a community, as a multidisciplinary collaborative team. And we felt that we were the people to take it on and do something about it right now. And so we needed a dedicated team to address both the whole spectrum of issues and immediately looking at needing a child care center and really a team to look at a strategy moving forward. So one of the innovative things we did was design a cross-sector team looking at agencies like Goodwill, United Way, had a legislative representative, Great Start Collaborative, licensing agents, Talent 2025, the foundation, myself from Public Health. And those all brought together good perspectives as well as helped us bring together the data and research that's been done locally as well as state and national perspectives and the voices that have been recently tapped of parents. We had local providers on our team as well as the voice of providers that have been meeting regularly and have had official surveys to get what is going on here, what are the concerns, and what can we address, both quickly and long term. So we need a team, we need a new center, and long term we need a shared services hub. We need to support our providers. They have challenges that they're not able to meet because they want to care for children, but childcare is a business, and trying to balance those things can be difficult. So we did a lot of research, we did site visits, and our big wins were that we hired a coordinator. Kathy Sales is going to continue on this work at United Way.
All right.
Our action team will continue on as part of the Great Start Collaborative to integrate this work into the preschool and kindergarten readiness so that this is part of the continuum and not operating outside of the system. A business plan is developed and going forward to a local organization to start a child care center that should serve first and second shift. And so we're ready to go, and I should have some more stuff to talk to you about shortly.
Amen.
So, thank you.
All right. Round of applause, Team 6. Jamie and Mark, I'm going to have you join our panel up here. So if you guys come on up and have a seat. No, right, I'm bringing them. I didn't want them to stand the whole time. I got this cup. It's my friends here. I got to offer them a chair. All right. Moving on, in the sake of time, I'm going to keep things rolling. I want to bring up Team 16. It's a good friend of mine here. I'm not going to lament on that. Team 16, Increasing Opportunity, my good friend, Ms. Kathy Roman.
I too am going to use this podium because my hands will
Mark.
shake as well. Sorry, Mark. I am incredibly grateful for this. Yes, our work was to increase employment opportunities via expungement. I think it was very, very clear to us right off from the get-go. We started out kind of very small. There were 4 of us that joined the table, and by a week or 2 in, we had a good dozen sitting around our table to talk about increasing these opportunities for individuals. One thing that I want to say is incredibly important for this work, and I think in all the work that we do, is how vital partnerships are. We could not have done this work just yet Kathy from Michigan Works. We needed the partnership of the Black Women's Political Caucus and of Goodwill and of the Public Defender's Office, and my particular favorite, the District Court Administrator, who helped us to navigate, who honestly helped us to really understand what it means on these legal situations when people are caught in the criminal justice system, and the work that it takes to actually maneuver through that. So I'm incredibly grateful for that partnership. We had 2 events. The first one happened 30 days in. Patrick called Fred and said, hey, can you do this on full service Saturday? And he said yes. And so that full service Saturday, they had 80 individuals that came through. They were able to help about 35% of those individuals. One of the things we realized is that this was not really, we needed more. It was really what we wanted. We wanted more. One of the things we wanted was we wanted data. And we weren't able to capture that there because it was really an event with the Public Defender's Office. And so we then made commitment to do another event. And that event was last Thursday. We had 195 individuals that we processed. Woo! We are so proud of that. I'm not kidding you. And the reason why we are so proud of that is because there were people who waited hours to meet with an attorney. And so what that says to me is that there's a lot of people in our community who have deep desires to have a different life, right? And to not be known as what their felony is. So again, I just want to give you a couple of numbers. Okay, thank you, Vondi. I have 1 minute. And but I want to give you some numbers. If you know me, you know I don't love to sit in data. However, I am learning because of this great job I have that I have to pay attention to data. So here's the thing I want to tell you is that out of 2 events, 275 people attended. 27% of them were in the zone, meaning that they qualified under current law. It was evenly split between men and women. This isn't just men. This is women too. Know that. 46% of them were not employed. How are they surviving? Ask yourself that question. 74% of them claimed that they were denied employment. Think about that. 74% of them. And what's even more painful to me is that 39% of them were denied housing because of their criminal record. Pay attention to that. I know I'm done. I want to say one final thing, and that is this. I'm sorry, Vondi, I got to get this out, but this is the important part. There are currently 4 bills that are sitting with our state senators right now. This could have a huge impact upon our community. I have no doubt in my mind that we would more than double that percentage number. It would be more than 50% of individuals that could have that kind of experience, have that kind of freedom. And so if there's one thing I want to say to you, call your senator. I don't see Senator Bumstead here, but call him. Where are you? Oh, you're here. I'm so glad you're here. His rep is here, and so I'm so grateful that she's here. I know he's probably in session today, but you're here. And so we need to make sure that our legislation knows that we need these bills passed so that people can have housing, so that they can have jobs, and that they can have equity in this community.
Team 16. I love it. And I know a lot of people are wondering, with 19 teams, how do we select, the 4 that would speak? And it was a very intricate process. It involved a hat, some names on paper. We make it work, right? We do the best that we can. But again, each team will have the opportunity to elaborate as we open up the expo. We will keep things rolling for the sake of our time. Team 11, the Reading Buddies program. I'd like to welcome to the podium Ms. Ellie and Ms. Lauren. Come on up.
I don't know if it's going to say. All right. We are a part of group number 11, and we set out to design a reading buddy program to help combat illiteracy in the community and also unify the community by building relationships between students from different schools. I'm Ellie Keeson. I'm from Mona Shores Interact, and
I'm Lauren Robleski from Orchard View Interact. I'm Alora Bolthouse from Mona Shores Interact.
I'm Olivia Abraham from Mona Shores Interact.
I'm Demaya Harrison from Orchard View Interact.
We also have students on our team from Muskegon Heights Academy and Muskegon High School, but they couldn't be here today. Currently in our process, we are now officially out and reading to students, kids at sites. And so that's really exciting. It was really, this whole planning experience was really empowering for me. I've never been in a situation where I felt like all of my ideas were heard and like my opinions were really important, especially at school, like student initiative projects. Usually there's a lot of red tape and administrators telling you like, you can do it, but it's gonna be really difficult. And there's always just reasons why it can't happen. So this was just overall really amazing. Every single person that I came in contact with, adults and students alike, they were always just like, this is a great idea, and how can I help you make it happen? And it was just amazing. And it was also really empowering to see when we went out to the sites just how much the kids needed this, and also how much they appreciated it, and how excited they were to be like have this one-on-one attention and be read to. It was beautiful. An important learning experience for me was learning how to enter every meeting with an open mind and leave all preconceived notions behind on what reading buddies would be, and like how the process would go and what it would look like at the end, because as we added more and more people to our planning process, things were always changing, and it wasn't exactly the same as what we had planned on in the beginning. But I realized that as long as we're meeting the end goal of reading to kids and helping these kids, that it didn't really matter how we got there. It was just the planning process itself, like making these connections was really important in healing the community and healing the issues that we have in the community, and like unifying the community. The planning process was like the most crucial step.
Thank you all so much. Ellie and Lauren?
Yeah.
Are we still going? Good job. Okay, go ahead.
So some important things that I've learned throughout this process is that it doesn't matter how young you are, you can always make a difference. When you get the word out there, enough people will eventually start to listen, especially if you hound them, which I've had to do to my Interact Club many times. But really, the important thing is that stepping outside of your comfort zone is a great thing and get a lot of things done. And school rivalries need to be put aside for a better outcome. Bringing all the schools together really helped get the word out there, and more kids got read to. So that's that.
Lori and Ellie, Lauren and Ellie, I'm gonna have you join the panel. Great job, team. One more time for Team 11. Wow. Of course, with this program, there's the define, design, do, and learn definition that if you know it all, you can explain to people in the community what it was about. But when I was faced with that question, what's it about, from people that were just hearing about Livability Lab, what's it about? I had to work on, in the process of life, you're not stopping for 5 minutes to give an explanation. You need something kind of quick, that elevator pitch, right? And it clicked. It made perfect sense. It's about being at the table. What's Livability Lab about? What's it about? It's about bringing everyone to the table. These teens are a great example of bringing everyone to the table, because generally it's a bunch of Mickeys and Marks at the table making the decisions for everyone. I know, Mark, we're bosses, man. That's what we do. But it's a whole nother community when you can bring our youth and our diverse population to the table. All right? So now we're going to open up the panel. I'm going to invite Dr. Aaron, Dr. Penny up as well. We're going to open it up to you all to ask questions to our panel about different parts of the challenges and experiences that they faced. Ready?
Ready.
Let's do this.
Okay, so first of all, wow, right? And maybe a question that others in the room have is, how in the heck did you get that done in 100 days? What helped to make that happen in 100 days? Because 100 days is a short amount of time, and you accomplished great things. So what's one thing that your team did, or that your team used, or a process that you used? How did you get it done in 100 days?
Well, I think for us it was commitment. So we honestly met every other week. We met the day before many of us went on Christmas break. And because we knew that it was going to take that kind of commitment. And I think one of the things that I know that I'm grateful for, and I think others are grateful for, is that our employers saw the importance of this and encouraged that with us.
I would also agree that I think it was just grit for us. We actually kind of muddled through for a little bit, like, who are we, what are we doing? And it was really, the team said, we have got to decide what it is. Are we gonna stand in front of people and say, we did, and we are committed to moving forward at the end, and we know we've got it, we know we care about it, so what is it? And so there was a very strong commitment. We also met on the 23rd of, or whatever, the 21st of December, and also the Friday after New Year's. And so the team was very committed to meeting at least every other week and some interim work, and brought in a number of people who wanted to participate but couldn't come in. They were in on conference call at every single meeting, and so people were very committed to participating and bringing their voice in whatever way they could.
Well, I think you all should thank me for making you look young to begin with. You know?
For making you look old.
Oh, you didn't need any help. That was just beautiful. You had everybody in the palm of your hand when you were talking. Anyway, so it is institutions and processes, and then sometimes it's individuals. And Marquise Childers had already done some wonderful, wonderful work, and it was like seeds were planted, and his work helped power and inform the whole situation. So that's my contribution.
For us, a lot of it was grit as well, just always like keeping up, having meetings and never like slacking, and always keeping each other accountable and make sure that we were there at the meetings. And also it was a lot of the connections that we made, like with Pathfinders and United Way, and just having like every single time we made a new connection, we had more people like getting us to our goal, and so it was just.
That's great. So I asked that question because in many of the communities where we've done our work, some of the lessons learned about how to make change happen from the 100-day process actually gets carried forward into the community as they pass this event. And I think you've identified a couple of key things to maybe think about as a community as you go forward, right? One was how important it is to expand your table. Many of you talked about that in your presentations. And two was having a concrete deadline by which you were holding yourselves accountable for getting the work done and what that meant. And it doesn't have to be 100 days, but knowing we have to have it done by that date, you start to have those meetings and the work gets done. And those are very concrete things that are easy to do, right? And having that, leveraging the great work that's already started is also really important in the partnerships.
Can I add something to that too? Yeah, one of the things I think we see as key to our success moving forward is having structure to move forward, and by having Kathy on board to lead some of that work, because my work as a coach will be transitioning out, and we needed somebody that's going to be able to champion that as part of their everyday work and not just on the side of their desk is so important. So being able to secure that leadership and someone to carry that and say, this is part of my job, this is what I do, this is what I'm committed to during my day is what's going to make this continue to move going forward.
That's an excellent point. And we're going to be hearing from Michael later today about how the Shire is hoping to build that kind of leadership and support for all of the teams moving forward. So that's great. I think one more question that I have, that Erin and I have as we were thinking about what you were saying is, what's a lesson learned that you would like to share with others in the room about this work?
I think it's, I brought up partnerships before, I'll bring it up again. There's a lot of people in this room that I'm partners with on other initiatives, and it's not easy. You have to trust. You have to trust others that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, and you have to trust a process a little bit. And I know, like, I would like to control all things, and that's right. And yes, right. That's why we're good friends, Michael Ramsey. Because, and you know, the reality is that last Thursday I didn't know how many attorneys were going to show up. And I didn't know how many people were going to show up. I didn't know what was going to happen. But I had to trust. I had to trust that my partners had done the work, right? And that we got the word out, and that we were going to have enough attorneys. We didn't have enough attorneys for 195 people. So if you know attorneys, and we're doing this again, please call me, because that's a vital piece. That's a vital piece. But the partnership and knowing that it's not going to go the way you want it sometimes, and being willing to yield.
That's great. So I think one of the things the lesson we've seen is that we need more advocacy and more investment. We can have grit to get to this point, but that's not going to get us for all the way. There is investment of dollars and political capital that is needed to move this forward. We cannot solve the child care issue just by talking about it. We have got to find the private, business, philanthropic, and public dollars, and we've got to find the partners to help us advocate to make that happen. And that's how our long-term goal is moving forward.
Well, I think what we learned in working with the Heights neighborhoods is that there are just islands of aspiration, places where people hope and dream and see a future. And through the work that we did, we kind of identified a lot of those folks. And when you're talking about, it's almost like spring. Some things are annuals and some things are perennials. And we really hope we're planting perennials. That's what we hope.
Something we've learned is that if one avenue doesn't work out, you can always try something else, and that people will be willing to help you if they actually believe in what you're doing.
Just got to keep on pushing your idea just until someone picks up on it.
Wonderful. Well, on behalf of everybody in the room, we thank you for your hard work and your great success. And I'm sure other people may have questions that they can ask you.
Yes.
Yes.
We have that opportunity. Or where's my timekeeper? We're good to go on that?
We have 2 minutes.
All right, we got about 2 minutes for questions from the audience. If you have something that was just a pressing matter that you'd like the panel to address, please raise your hand and I'll lob the mic over to you. Of course. Yeah, yep. Why not you, Carla? Yeah, all good.
I actually have a question for Jamie. In regards to, you had mentioned the possibility of creating a center. Do you have a location for this, or is it a concept?
It is both a concept and there's some location identified, but the plans are going before the leadership, and so it's not ready. It's not quite prime time yet.
Is the center for the daycare, or is it just a center for everybody to get together to?
What the business plan that's prepared and ready to be approved and be moving forward is for a child care center to watch children, but what we're hoping to establish in the future is a shared services hub for providers to get the technical assistance that they need, help with finances, or perhaps a substitute teacher pool, any other kind of backroom help they need, licensing. So that's really going to depend on what providers tell us that they need, but that's something we think to help providers are business. Childcare is economic development, and so we need to, it attracts, it retains, it builds workforce. Childcare providers bring people in, and they are small business.
I had a question from this side of the audience for the young ladies. They wanted to know what's next.
So what's next? We are becoming under the umbrella of Youth United or Student United at United Way. It's kind of, this project is the kickoff to start up the Student United project again, which is uniting all the student leadership groups in the community and having them collaborate with one another. And so this is one of the first projects for Student United, and basically it's going to become under the coordination of Dominique Bunker, and yeah, just keep it going after we're gone and everyone else on the team is gone.
Wow. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are recording, so if you have one more question, I want to get you mic'd so our cameras can pick you up. We are recording. My timekeeper says no. We're not recording that part, and we edit that out, guys, okay? Great job. One more round of applause for our panel, please.
These are so tall, and I'm so short. Thank you, sir.
All right. Now that we know that, we're going to get into what we know now. We've done the cultivating, gathered data. We're still gathering data. We want to know, what do we know now? So I'd like to invite, are you coming back up? Okay, we're going to roll right into it. So we're going to talk about our discoveries and our experiences. We went back to our intricate algorithm, of selecting who would join us for this portion, and I got that hat out again. I reached down in there, and I said, hey, we need up Aligning Economic Opportunity Team 4 with my good friend, Mr. Jack Russell. Where you at, Jack? Come on up, brother. Come on up. I'd like to also welcome up now as well Access to Local Resource Guides, Team 17. My good friend, Ms. CC Riley of Health West. Where you at, CC? There you go. As well, Muskegon Heights Youth Initiative, Team 3. My brother, Marquise Childers. Come on up. Jack, I'm going to have you take the podium first, please. CC and Marquise, I'll have you off to the side, please. I'm going to have you right over here, bud. Jack Russell, everyone. Oh, I apologize. Full panel discussion. I'm going to escort you over here, my good man. That's what that was about. Come on up, Mr. Childers and Ms. Riley, whenever you're ready.
How about I just squeeze in the middle?
It's a good-looking panel, folks. Okay.
So a few of the things that we heard over and over again as we were hearing from the teams and the coaches is this is really different. This process felt different. It worked different than how work usually happens. And there was a couple things that came up over and over again that I think this panel is going to highlight. So I'm just going to kind of do a preview, and then you guys can tap into these. Mickey, can I use that? Of course. I can't stand behind a podium. So one of the things that people talked about a lot in this process is this idea of root causes. Root causes is basically why are problems happening, and what can we do to really address the reasons why they're happening instead of just doing the symptoms over and over again. And these teams learned a lot about the importance of really understanding why problems are happening before jumping immediately to a solution. Because sometimes when you do that, you have to go back to the starting board and really figure out what the problem is in the first place. So listen for root causes and what they talk about. We heard over and over again from the teams the importance of talking with residents to really understand their needs, their dreams, and what was going on the ground, and how that really informed the work and changed the opinions and the ideas of what was going to happen. We heard a lot about the importance of having cross-sector people in these teams that had different ideas that could bounce off of each other and really come to unique, innovative solutions that couldn't have happened if people just stayed in their silos. So listen for cross-sector. And also this idea of equity, that at the end of the day, all of this work really needs to be promoting equity and addressing some of the inequities that we see across Muskegon. And that was a really powerful kind of driving force for a lot of the teams. So listen for ideas about equity in terms of how this work looked different than how work is typically done in Muskegon. So why don't we have each of the panel members talk a little bit about what were kind of some of the big aha moments of doing this work that felt different than how you typically do work? What made this feel different? What made this work different than what typically happens in work? Do you want to start out?
Well, it's a typical thing of kind of forming, storming, norming, if any of you have been on any kind of team where you have to kind of figure each other out first. And I think in a lot of ways, the first few meetings were kind of confusing, unfocused. We had a lot of very professional, intelligent people in the room that we were trying to sort out the data of why the problems were happening and changes in Medicaid coverage that affected everybody living in the community. And I think the other thing that's different about this process for us was that we didn't have to fix it all, right? I mean, we kind of figured that out real early when you really looked at the massive amount of data that we had to review and how to analyze that to come up with a solution. We didn't have to come up with a solution for everybody in the community. We were focusing on Muskegon Heights and the neighborhood associations that Marquise has been working on. And we kind of got down to, if we can affect a few, that's okay. It doesn't have to be a perfect solution for everybody. And I think that allowed us to move much quicker, which is different than most businesses, I own and run a business, and when you start on a project like that, you have to finish it to completion. It has to accomplish everything, right? There has to be a plan for everything. And this is okay to start and make a difference, because those differences will spread one by one.
In the case of Team 3, aha moments, one of the things that I would say was an aha moment is understanding that there are life coaches and mentors and other organizations that do a lot of great youth work, and I'm very excited to have them in our community. And the aha moment was that we don't have to reinvent the wheels as much as we can add on. So it's not stepping on the existing youth programs that's out there as much as, hey, we got more kids that can actually join you guys. So just going out there and finding the kids that are not participating in those different programs and building their appetite to want more in life. But an aha moment, again, is to get them to actually see themselves to want more, but you have to meet them there first. So that was the aha moment. So going out and actually getting the kid that's walking in the alleys and walking up the streets and saying, hey, you can, when you see me, see you. And I think that's big, and then that way that we can get them to the Pathfinders, we can get them to the Boys and Girls Club, and then that trend becomes not only a trend but a lifestyle in the community, where we work together and build the youth to become better model citizens, and that'll be better for Muskegon County.
I would add for Team 17, it was really evident right away that this was a need in the community to really align the way that people access information about resources that are in this community. There are a lot of amazing organizations represented in this room today that are doing incredible work, and if we can get that work and that information and those events into the hands of the community residents that they could benefit even more effectively than we're already doing and more collaboratively, it's just going to bring us to that level of livability that we're looking for. And so immediately when this challenge launched at the 100-day challenge kickoff, we had a huge team of multiple individuals that kind of came together and said, yes, this is a need. This would really impact my work and really help the people that I serve. And so we had right away probably 10 to 12 different organizations represented at that table, which is really what helped move that work forward. And I think we very instantly realized that we could not, this was a boulder that we were looking at. There was no way in 100 days to be able to say, after 100 days, everyone will be able to access everything extremely easily. We'll be able to know what each other is doing. And so we said, well, what could we do in 100 days? And what kind of small rocks could we chip off of that boulder to be able to kind of move that traction and move down the court? And so our team was very easily able to do that and really identify, like, the first need is building a central repository where we could keep everybody's information so that us as community providers would know where to go access all that information to share it with individuals we work with. And so I think that was really what led to our success, was that cross-system or that cross-sector involvement, and then really being able to kind of chip away at what we knew was a big boulder.
So a couple big ideas I just heard you say was using data and really understanding the problem transformed the conversation, and it allowed you to do work differently. Marquise, you talked about actually talking with youth and not just assuming what they wanted was a big game changer. And Cece, you talked about the importance of having people with different perspectives come together with different backgrounds. So can you talk a little bit more about how those things really changed the conversations in your team, how it changed the way that you guys were able to think about these problems and come up with solutions?
Well, we eventually came to the decision, after looking at all the data, that we really needed to go talk to people in the community. And Marquise, I think, was on every team, weren't you? He's been on every team, so he was on our team as well. And when we talked about how do we get to some of the groups in Muskegon Heights so that we can get that voice, we'll eventually end up going and talking to the neighborhoods as well. But I asked Marquise if he could go talk to the young black professionals and Black Wall Street organizations that are in Muskegon Heights and trying to promote business in the black community. And Marquis says, I can do that, but you should. Why would you ask a black guy to go ask the questions you want to know? Go ask him yourself.
That sounds just like Marquise.
Well, it was great advice, and that's exactly what we did. And ironically, the ideas that came out of those meetings, and it was on behalf of the Heights Business Association. We've got an entrepreneur night coming and all that we're doing other work in other areas that kind of cross over this team. And the ideas of microloans and listening nights, so other people who started businesses and have gone through these struggles can just get up and tell their story. Because everybody thinks if you run a business or you're trying to grow something, that I own a business, that I just opened it, and it was great, and you're a millionaire within a year. And the true story is that most people who are entrepreneurs have failed multiple times. I know I have. If anybody is in the room that's running a business and you can raise your hand and say, nope, I never failed, I just made it. Right? And I think those things are the things that are key to share our stories, that we're all pretty much the same. You know, we've all had failures, whether it's in business or relationships or anything else. And by understanding each other's problems and situations, we can help each other a lot better.
Well said, Jack. Thank you. Marquise?
That was so great, I kind of forgot the question.
I thought you were going to go what he said. Let's just move it on.
So the question was, you had talked a little bit about talking with actual youth and how this was different. How did that change the conversation in your team?
Well, it changed the conversation for the team because I coached 7th grade basketball for downtown Muskegon. And one of the things that's real big is that going back to where the parents are at work, right? So when the parents at work, I'm the one that's driving these kids home. So the conversation is not basketball, it's more a personal conversation. And the conversation I get is, hey, coach, I'd love to do a science project. Like I had a friend that's in a whole different school district, and they was blowing up volcanoes and doing all this stuff, and it's like, he looking at me and he goes, I would love to do that. I don't want to play basketball my whole life. The kids have a greater appetite than sports and entertainment.
That's right.
And that right there got me.
Thank you.
Yeah, that got
Wow.
me. Yeah, that got me.
Wow.
I just want to tap into that side of the kids because it's like, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Amen.
So we got to give them different examples and provide different avenues for them to be able to flourish in this life. So, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
That changed everything.
We are out of time, but I would be remiss if I didn't give Cece just a few seconds at least to comment on that question, Cece.
Thanks.
Cece, how did the cross-sector thing that you talked about?
I can speak quickly. Having multiple organizations, and we actually had a parent representing Parent Voice, part of our team as well, was really helpful because, for one, we really rooted a lot of the work of our team in the 211 system. And if Call 211 wasn't at the table from day one, that could have looked a lot different. And we had, somebody from Senior Resources represented who could speak to that older aging population. We had United Way, we had Health West serving the mental health community. We even had Sam's Club, the Hackley Public Library. I mean, it really brought a varying perspective to the work because we're all serving very different populations. And so that changed the conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, make a round of applause for this fantastic panel. Thank you all. Thank you. Dr. Watson, thank you. Wow. Progress is a process. Great job. And we are making it right here in our own backyard. Speaking of progress, I want to bring to stage a man who prides himself on not just keeping up with the trends, but setting the trends. We're going to bring up my good friend, Mr. Commissioner Michael Ramsey with What's Next. It's like, I don't follow trends, I set them. There we go, Mike.
Thank you, Mickey. Thank you. And thank you to everybody else. Before I get started in my little talk, because I have 15 minutes that Monty is going to keep me very close to, 3 things. This is your Livability Lab Expo checklist. When we're doing the expo part of it, take this around and have whoever's at that team's table, have them sign it, fill out the information, turn it in as you walk out. You'll be entered for a door prize. Thing number 2, everyone got a flash drive that has most or all of today's handouts, books, and things like that on it. They're encrypted. So what that means is you're going to go, once you pull it up, you'll click on the flash drive. It's the 3rd option. It's like McAfee something something science. You click on that, and it will let you enter a password. The password is Shire 2020, ! All caps.
Asterisk, backspace, underscore.
Now, come on. Incidentally, some of your computers, in case they recognize it, the flash drive is also named the same thing as the password, because we were trying to be smart about it. There was one other thing that I now cannot remember. Oh. Yeah, it'll all come. Okay, so I get to talk for 15 minutes about what's next, eh? If you guys have questions or stuff like that, if we get to them, that's fine. But until we're at the end, like, chill. Okay, let's see our slides for the first time. Woo! Okay, guys, so we've talked a lot about this morning about what's been happening now. And so this is really the image that we're using to describe to people who haven't been in this room for the last 100 days, because mentally, you've all been in this space for the last 100 days, eh? You could draw this in your sleep. So it's these 19 teams that we created here that really focus around these community conditions. Is there a pointer? Okay. Yes, the middle. So these community conditions here are social determinants or influencers of health. And for those of you that understand the work of the Shire, the Community Health Innovation Region, you know that that's what we're focused on, because we know for a fact that affects every person in this room's or in our community's physical health, not just them seeing a doctor. So in order to address those issues here, these 9 teams got together, everything went great. But all of those community conditions live in larger elements. There's a hierarchy there. And those are called the livability elements. And within our community identified them as social connection and trust, safety and security, economic opportunity, health, and education. So those are 5 pretty big buckets, eh? But when we talk about systemic change, those are the areas that we're looking at needing the most influence in. Those are the places that were identified by all of you and your friends and your family and your neighbors that we needed help in addressing. Next slide. So what happens next? We're going to take these 10 community conditions and figure out where they fit within these 5 livability elements, or what I'm going to call buckets. Vondi's called them pods. Someone else called them something else. They're just these catch centers of where these smaller things live. These are our 5 largest areas. Next slide. So with these 19 teams, as we were kind of laying out Livability Lab 2.0, we thought, where do we start? As we begin to convene these buckets, we look at what the teams are already doing and where they fit. So you might see your team up here under a bucket that you don't agree with. This is just the negotiating point, eh? Nobody freak out, nothing is written in stone. It's all on this piece of paper that I think we can erase if we got an eraser. But this is how we see moving the work forward. When we talk about coming together now on a larger scale for systemic change, we talk about taking what you've learned as individual teams, putting you around one big issue so that you can share those stories and experiences, so that now it's not just, one team. You've assembled an army that's going to attack one of these large buckets. So I'm not going to call out what these teams are or where they live, because everyone will be receiving this in an email. That was my 3rd thing. When you leave here, there are registration sheets. If you did not register, please do so. Or if you didn't check in, please do so, because I'm going to email you 100 times. No, 99 times. But we need to know that you guys were here. We also want to make sure that as we share this wonderful story of all the wins that this community has had with our partners at the state, with our friends at MSU, with our friends from our local healthcare systems, that we are accurate in saying, ha, 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 we did it and you said we could not. I have the clicker now, eh?
Got it.
Stop it, watch this magic. Ba, 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 ba. So, as we talk about assembling these armies from what are these teams, we need to talk about who's leading that work. Every coach in the room, raise your hand. Was this the most intense 100 days of your life? Just say, shout out, yes, no, I loved it, it was great, I want to do it tomorrow. It was hard. They did so much work. So now if you think about putting together an army of people, they're going to need more support than that. So along with having coaches, maybe some new, maybe some old who want to keep doing this, we also recognize that we need to have organizational conveners. Michael, what is an organizational convener, you ask?
Great question.
I have no idea.
You missed your cue, Detroit. So an organizational convener is a community-based agency who wants to support the actions around that bucket, around those buckets of social connection and trust, health, safety and security, economic opportunity, and education. So I, Mary, the design team have been together really talking about who these people are and how we get their support. So I have a special of important call-outs today. Access Health and Jeff Fortenbacher. Jeff, raise your hand, say hi.
Woo!
Yay. Jeff and Access Health have decided to be the organizational convener for social connection and trust, which means they are going to be responsible for bringing together the teams that fall under there to help identify new areas and root causes within that specific bucket and push the work forward. Jeff has also offered a match dollar of $5,000. Isn't that great? So no one up here has talked about funding today because the team did a really good job of working with Michigan State and their benevolence, which we cannot thank them enough for. They knew that for this process to win, we had to have funding. We couldn't be fighting one another or other agencies. So they said, Michael, here's some money, make it count. And you guys did. But as we move forward, we know that now that we've piloted this and know that it works, we need to find people in our community that believe enough in us to help to pony up and make this happen for themselves as well. So that's what this process really is. We should always be talking about funding. We should always be looking for more funding, whether it's infrastructure or action and implementation, but there should always be that ask on the tip of your tongues. The Health Project has also decided that they will put their foot in the game. They are going to step up and be the organizational convener for health. Surprise, surprise, eh? Also with a match dollar of $5,000. How about $10,000? That's really good. So I have phone calls out for safety, security, economic opportunity, and for education, which doesn't happen to be up there, but both of the people that I reached out to for education are not in this room. However, if you belong to an organization that wants to help convene one of these things, there's nothing written that says these buckets can only have one convener. Maybe it's a tag team, back again, and you guys get to come together and support as a team, which would be wonderful. So if there's anyone that wants to do that, please see me. After this, I will take your name, your phone number, and all your dollars. So before I move on to my thank yous, I want to say that as we move into Livability Lab 2.0, we are looking at addressing systemic change, looking at addressing systemic issues in our community by the work that we've done on individual levels because of all the things that you guys have learned in the last 100 days. You have been given an education that is paramount that you would get nowhere else. I hate that from the frying pan into the fire, but it's true. I also hate the term, these cliches. I was baptized by fire. No, this was worse than fire. You guys did this, and I couldn't be here to thank all of you without all of you. So thank you genuinely for being in this room and for believing that you could when everyone else said that we couldn't. I can count on one hand the number of people in this room that looked at me and when this was happening or was like, this is never gonna work. Those people are now sitting in this room eating their words. And I love all 5 of you, but we win. So, I'm gonna get into thank yous. I really wanna thank our design team, Marquise, Logan, Mary, I should not be thanking myself, Carrie, Catherine, Kim, Vondi, and Charisma for her work in the very early stages. This was, give you guys a round of applause, seriously. We met every week, every Friday for 4 hours, 3 months before this process even started. And so for us to get together and really be able to learn and grow from because what you guys did with your teams, we did with all of you. So we had to get in there and figure out how we could interact and what would be the best process to push you forward, to push you forward and support you as you move through this work. We could not have done it without all of these team members, so hats off to all of you, really. The Livability Lab coaches, if you're a coach, stand up. If you're a coach, stand up.
Stand up.
So I want to be super clear. Don't sit down.
Nope.
Stand up.
There you go. Thank you very much.
I want to be super clear that most of the coaches in this room started out as friends of mine. I got to recruit them. That may be a different situation now. But I want to thank each and every one of you individually, and I want you to understand that I really do mean it. That when we had this vision and MSU was like, you can do this, you guys have got this. It all starts with coaches. Michael, find 25 coaches. I literally wrote your names down on a piece of paper and said, these are they, and how do we get them? So thank you guys for being a part of this, because this work could not have been done without you. That's right. And as we move forward, you are more than welcome to be a part of this, but I don't expect you to be until you get the email saying, I expect you to be a part of this. So go ahead and sit down. Thank you very much. Woo! Again, applause for them. Is this my last slide? Okay, great. So before I move on to the final announcement, and then I get to, did I save any time, Bondi? I have 1 minute. Jesus. I mean, woo. I have 1 minute. Save the date. Livability Lab 2.0, September 20th of 2020, or September 17th of 2020. We will see you guys back as we reconvene and talk about systemic change in our community, because that's the next step, eh? We've all taught each other how to be respectful and work together and how to handle these individual things, but now let's really put it together and whoop some ass. Oh, and have a good time. All right, somebody.